After everything ended, I had nowhere else to go but this little town called Shaddam in Alabama. I just dropped off to sleep when it hit me. Slow, broken tune, like someone walking behind the house while humming. The next night, same time, same tune, closer. I got up, turned on the porch light, no one there. I tried to ignore it, stayed in bed, tried to sleep. But every damn time around 1:13 a.m., give or take. And then I started thinking maybe someone's messing with me on purpose. Someone who knew I was alone out here. I called the sheriff. A few days later, Deputy H showed up. When I told him about the whistling, he got quiet. Real quiet. Then he said something that made my blood freeze. He looked like he'd seen ghosts himself. I didn't know my grandfather had dealt with this. He told me to lock every door, stay inside after dark. I did it. But the whistling, the haunting grew louder each night, until Evan could no longer ignore it. The whistle grew louder, like a presence just beyond the threshold. The sound didn't stop. It came from within, crawling up through vents. That night, Evan prepared, shotgun loaded, heart pounding in silence. The whistle stopped, replaced by heavy steps. He shouted into the darkness. No one answered, only silence heavier than before. The knocking came, not from outside, but from within. The house stirred, not just a whisper, but a presence moving closer. Someone walking. The hallway light went out. I grabbed my shotgun, heart pounding, and stepped into the dark hallway at the end. Standing still, a person in black, pale face, watching me. I raised the gun, but my hands were shaking, mouth dry. Tried to speak, couldn't get a word out. They turned slowly, lifted their leg as if to run. I screamed again, stop, and they darted off, vanishing into the darkness. I fired straight ahead, not into the air, hoping to hit them in the dark. Shot hurt my ears, ricocheted off walls and deck. I locked up everything, got in my truck, drove into town. Slept there that night. The next morning, Deputy H drove out. Front door of the house was unlocked again. That confirmed it. Whoever this person was had a key to my grandfather's place. Nothing broken or missing, but he off the record suggested I change locks and maybe move out of there altogether. So I did. Went down to the local hardware store that same day, changed all the locks, left the house for good, went back to my parents' place out of state, told Dad eventually sell it. We took everything sentimental, anything they could carry, the rest sold or left behind. Of course, my dad never mentioned, there's some creep who's been stalking this house for decades now, how he got a key, who he was. Why my grandfather never said anything, I don't know. I think it was some disturbed guy living nearby, and I've honestly never felt safe in the countryside again since then. Now I'm 16, live in the city. My first 8 years were spent out here, where everyone knew each other's names, where we'd walk through the village without being supervised because there were only about 90 people. She'd make mint tea for her birthday party, but ran out of mint leaves, asked if we could fill 2 plastic bags with them. In return, she'd buy us as many sodas as we wanted. We thought it was genius. No need to ask parents for money, so we started digging. Sun beating down on our foreheads, clothes soaked in sweat. We barely filled half the first bag. Both of us were mad. Couldn't believe this would ever work before sunset. Still, we kept going, hoping some miracle happened. Suddenly, 2 tall guys appeared out of nowhere. Probably 5'7", but looked like giants to 7-year-old eyes, covered in black clothes with big hoodies and tight pants. They spoke softly, friendly, childish tone, choosing their words carefully. "Are you kids both alone?" one asked. Julian pulled me back by the arm. Expression serious, almost panicked, asked, "Who are your parents?" In our village, that question meant bloodline, last name only. So he was scared, didn't recognize them. Talking to 2 little kids without anyone around even patting my head. Red flags, but I was still a kid. Didn't care much about red flags. We walked further and further away from the village. My friend's hand trembled in mine. Suddenly, a shiver ran down my spine. The forest loomed ahead. No sign of any mint field. There's something wrong with these 2. Run. That was the last thing I heard before he sprinted downhill like crazy, hand never leaving mine. I ran too, like my life depended on it. Could hear them curse behind us, chasing us through the woods. Cried out loud. Didn't stop running, not even breathing. Somehow I ran 2 kilometers back to the village without stopping or slowing down. The woman who'd asked us for help saw us both soaked and pale. Tears streaming down our faces, gave us chocolate to calm us. Asked what happened. Julian told her my mouth was frozen. She scolded him. "You're so stupid." Said I didn't want to follow them, that he trusted the guys too much. After that, he wasn't allowed outside for a month. I needed time to recover from the shock. Never found out who those guys were or what they wanted. Now, older, wiser, I can guess, while we ran. There was a chance I could have tripped and fallen. Riskier running downhill at that speed if I hadn't been holding Julian's hand. I don't even want to imagine what would have happened. My parents worked double shifts when I was little. Needed extra cash for me and my older brother Cameron. Hired a babysitter, Michelle, maybe 20, young, polite, energetic. We loved having her around. She helped us with homework, online classes made the summer bearable. But then came vacation time. Parents told her to go relax. She did, and we were left without someone watching over us. So they sent Cameron and me to our grandparents' house in Texas, a little far from Oklahoma, but worth it if we'd be there all summer. The drive was beautiful for adults, maybe for a 7-year-old. The most nauseating, boring thing ever. The night had begun like any other bedtime, shared room. Parents asleep from the long drive. He woke up to heavy footsteps. He couldn't see what it was. Blinds blocked everything. He ran to wake his parents. They didn't believe him, thought he was imagining things. When his parents checked, there was nothing, just animals maybe. He fell back asleep, lulled by cartoons until morning. He woke to the scent of breakfast. Grandma cooking something delicious. Grandpa took them out to feed the animals. Julian held Cora's leash as they walked through trails. Cora slowed down. Julian was scared to look, but when he did, a black figure stood there. He ran back to tell Grandpa he saw a man standing there. The figure vanished instantly. Grandpa heard it too. He said it must have been just a deer, frightened away by the noise. After feeding animals, they returned home to enjoy the day, watching movies and splashing in sprinklers. That night, he fell asleep around 1 a.m., lulled by cartoon music. He woke again at 1:13 a.m. Humming started outside his window. He yelled for Grandpa. The humming stopped after 30 seconds. A voice called out. He put on shoes and followed it into the darkness. The sky above was endless, beautifully dark. Found him standing by my window. He led me toward the barn, asked where we were going. No answer. Started wondering, why would Grandpa be outside at 1 a.m., wearing hooded sweater, holding my hand? Then I noticed it wasn't Grandpa's hand, someone younger, and behind him, a long handle sticking out of his pants. Panic hit me like a freight train. Suddenly heard Grandpa's voice calling from the house. "Hey, kid." Didn't say anything back. The man turned toward the sound. Distraction. I yanked my hand free and ran. Grandpa was waiting with arms open. Grandma held phone to her ear, talking to police. Cops arrived soon after, found him hiding in a ditch not far from the house. Had an axe tucked into his pants. They searched, found the shed lock broken off. Tools scattered around, all of them capable of causing more trouble than just this. A few days later, Grandpa found out who he was. Dave, Michelle's ex-boyfriend, admitted to stalking us. Planned to take me that night because he figured it'd be easier with a little girl. Said he wanted to use me to get back with Michelle. Start over, live happily. Claimed he wouldn't hurt me ever. After this whole thing, parents picked up Cameron and I. A week later, started looking for better jobs so they could stay home more often. Let Michelle go. Understandable. I'm grateful the police station wasn't far from Grandpa's place. And most of all, I'm thankful my grandfather woke up that night to use the bathroom. Even after 20 years, it still gives me chills thinking about what would have happened to me that night.